All right, peeps, welcome back to another episode. I'm Emeka Bronson. I've been in the dating space for 2 decades, dealing with all sorts of issues and strategies within dating for men from their perspective. I'm joined by my lovely contemporaries, Nicole and Natasha. Say hello to
Hey,
people. And
I'm Natasha Lorraine. I'm Nicole Melissa. And us too, we've been in the dating sphere for the last 20 years ourselves. We worked for the largest leading matchmaking company in North America, and we've heard it all. And we're here to break it down. And today, our topic is about knowing yourself and what that really means.
perfect. And, because we value your time, we value our time, I'm going to hit the timer on this. We're gonna, cap this conversation at 30 minutes, and hopefully we'll bring you guys some value and help you overcome some of the obstacles you're facing in the social jungle out there. So knowing thyself, I think that's a big concept. It's an important concept. It's something that I endorse for a lot of my clients when going out there and trying to make hay in the social dating world. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they look for external sources to bring them happiness versus the internal, uh, the inner game that where you can build confidence and real skills and attributes that are going to help you, achieve things that you want to achieve, especially in dating. And you guys, your experience in matchmaking, uh, I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of indecisiveness with a lot of your clients, and that can also lead to very expensive situations. We've heard those horror stories of women spending $25,000 to $30,000 in matchmaking and only to walk away still upset and not even really. I think one of the key issues from our previous discussions is they're not even sure what they want and who they really are.
Yeah, that's what it really boils down to. Whether you meet someone for free or you pay upwards of 25 to $50,000, the amount of money you pay cannot guarantee someone wanting to come back for more. That is all up to you. And that's what we're always talking about, doing the work and trusting the process. You have to go through that, and it's painful. And especially now with social media and online dating, there's lots of pacifying um, attributes to what's really going on that people want to attach themselves to, about, what's a real man, what's a real woman. And in our previous video, we were talking about men going their own way, and the whole MGTOW movement. Well, women are doing the same thing as well. Why? Because they don't know themselves. And like you were saying, Emeka, it's the classic definition of insanity to continue to do the same thing over and over again in hopes that you're going to have a different result. And we were talking about that, even personally. When I woke up one day to, oh my gosh, this has nothing to do with my husband and everything to do with me. No, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and we were talking about, nobody can be a bad influence on you. You are the only person that can make yourself do something. No one else has the power to do that. I don't want to be like, oh, unless someone had a gun to your head. That is never going to happen. The likelihood of someone forcing physical harm on you to do something, that's something completely different. We're just talking about your own free will. But because we want to be with someone so bad, whether you want to admit it or not, men and women, we go together. We're attracted to each other, and there's something in our DNA that makes chemistry happen between the male and the female. But once you've been burned so many times, it makes it painful. Yeah, it makes it painful to want to go back out there. When if you dialed it back, we were talking about, you can't just be in a long-term relationship with someone and break up and then go into being with someone else. You need to work out all the stuff that was the reason why it didn't work out. If this is the first time in my life that I've been single for 1 year. And it's the first time in my life since I've probably, and I don't know, fuck, since grade 6, like, I don't long. But you know what? I needed the time to figure myself out so that I don't make bad decisions again when it comes to meeting someone. And I don't want to be like, oh, fuck love. I don't, you know, Nicole and I have had the luxury to grow up in love. We've been matching thousands of people,
seeing love, watching love.
yeah, seeing it develop and grow and start and blossom into this beautiful thing. And we've also seen train wrecks as well along that way. And people would come through the door, and Nicole and I, you know, we were born to be matchmakers. And so we would talk to somebody, and shortly after they signed up, we'd be like, oh my gosh, you don't need a match, you need help. Like, you need to work that shit out. And then you would tell the person over and over again, everybody's saying the same thing about you. And it would be very hard for them to understand that. And want to hear that. And now, like that, we always talk about that. That is the luxury of being a matchmaker, is you get to hear what everybody's saying about that one person. It's not my personal opinion of what I think. It's like, all these people are saying this about you. But the downside of now, most people are doing online dating. There's no one there, and the likelihood of telling you straight up why they don't like you is slim. So you just go into this hole of delusion and disappointment.
Yeah.
And what kind of person would that make you? Disappointed and disillusioned. You want to be the actual opposite of those things when you're looking for love.
Exactly, when you're out there. And you have to take accountability. I mean, I'm going to always I'm going to die on that hill. You need to be accountable for your own actions. The reality is that you don't know yourself as a dater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It does take you sometimes going to a matchmaker or a coach to find out who you are. You can ask your friends, you can whatever, but they've never dated you. You know what I mean? If it's a situation like that, like your girlfriends haven't dated you, your guy friends haven't dated you if you're heterosexual. You know, so you don't know who you are as a dater. So when we're sharing information, what we've learned, what we've quickly picked up, is that you have to be accountable. You have to be able to understand the role you play in things. It's never going to always be somebody else's fault. And we understand how easy it is to go there, because it's hard to say like, oh, I did that.
Yeah.
That's tricky, but that's the first step. First things first, you have to humble yourself and be open to hearing the truth about who you are, and be able to look at yourself and see who you are, who you've been. And then really, if like, it could go into a rabbit hole right now, because it really goes all the way back to like childhood traumas, and everybody has them.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has them. It's what you saw growing up. It's what, you know, the relationships you had, from, I think they say from like 6 to whatever, 16 or something like that. Those are crucial times for people. It kind of makes you who you're going to be. So some of it, sometimes it's not even your fault. You might not even realize that you're doing this to yourself because you're not loving yourself from the right space.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could think that you are, because like going back to what you were saying, like, you know, both Natasha and I are getting divorced, going through divorces. And when we started doing the work and saw the role we played in that, you know, you see the role you played in how I created that.
100%. And that's why it's so important to know yourself, so that you don't make those same mistakes again when you put yourself out there. But if you don't know where you went wrong, it's kind of hard to fix it.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, like, once you learn the lesson, you can't learn the lesson, in my opinion, with a person that you broke the bond with. You need to take the lessons you learned and try them out on a new person that didn't break the bond.
Yeah.
So that you could be the new you. Being the new being the new Natasha is not easy.
Yeah.
I've never been used to being single before. So I sit in between I'm happy I'm not the old Natasha because I don't want to be her anymore. I'm in the process of being the new Natasha, but who is she? I just know I don't want to make the same mistakes and I don't view myself the same way, but I still have to enter the male energy into my life to know how I'm really going to deal with that. So that's a process in itself. And I want to show up for myself.
Do the work.
Yeah, these are very, very poignant, introspective ideations you guys are working through here, and a lot of the viewers and listeners can probably, you know, I'd say empathize with what you're going through because a lot of them are going through it themselves, and in order for you guys to articulate, you know, what it is that you're going through, sometimes some people have a tough time trying to pinpoint, you know, where that hole in their psyche lies, and sharing some of your personal experiences will help people like that. And it reminds me of a quote from a psychologist, a late psychologist. I think he died in '94. Eric Erickson. He says, "The more you know yourself, the more patience you have um, for finding or for what you see in others." So I might have butchered that quote.
Oh, 100%.
So you know, you're getting through all that noise of being confused about who you are, and then becoming more strategic and more present in trying to accomplish or trying to connect with what it is that you want. So, you know, based on that, you know, within the Alpha IQ program, and I think my Twitter is up for some of the viewers to see. You can follow me at Alpha IQ _IQ. Is that you know, developing your inner game, developing your inner purpose, solidifying that is a great foundation to work from. Because if you don't have that type of uh, self awareness, you know, you're just trying to build on quicksand. You're busy sinking. You can't build if you're always sinking. So, you know, I think one of the theories that I came up with is the vitals program. It's vital to your success. It's vital to your progression and to your growth. And vitals is, of course, is an acronym. So vitals, V for values, I for interests, T for temperament. Around the clock, what are your behaviors around the clock? What are you doing? L's for life mission. Well, what are your goals? What do you wake up every morning? What are you trying to accomplish? And the S is for your strengths and your skill set. So using your vitals to build out your own persona, you can create, you know, basically a spreadsheet of who you are. So see, for example, V, values. You know, what is it that you value? What is it that, you know, what's your guide to decision making? So when you guys were at Life Mates and women were filling out their personal, I guess, profiles, were you guys asking them about their values? Were women forthcoming with what their values were?
Yeah, but they're going to tell us the values that they think that they have.
Yeah.
That don't. Some really don't
good.
fit that.
Yeah. Who you think you are and who you actually are two different things.
Yeah.
And maybe as well, what Nicole was saying before is you don't know yourself as a dater. When you're talking about who you think you are, it's like in general, overall, you know, you're kind, you're smart, you're funny, you know, you're adventurous, like whatever the key things you think about yourself when you're being asked. But to know yourself as a dater is two different things. Yeah. Showing up to someone else, yes, you need to show up to yourself and you hope you're showing up in a realistic way, but that will come out anyways when you're showing up to other people.
Exactly. And when you're showing up in a male-female relationship, it's also different.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'll use a personal example. So my ex-husband used to, like, I used to always say, I'm like, Tasha, do you think I'm like that? Like,
yeah.
And she was like, no, not at all. Like, I'm like, yeah, I can't believe he said that. And he would be like, yeah, like, are you having sex with Natasha? Those are two different things. How you are with me versus how you are with her. But you different. You're friends.
But that's in every situation, like who you are at work, who you are at the doctor's office, who you are as a mother, who you are as a best friend, and who you are as a lover. Those are all who you are as a sister, an aunt, a daughter, like who all those people that you are, you show up differently to all of those people. In those relationships. So yes, as a dater, you aren't showing up the same way you show up as a sister, or you show up as a daughter, or you show up as a best friend. So and breaking up with someone isn't enough to move on to the next person. And that's not a gender specific thing for men and for women. You want to be at a point where you know yourself. What are your vitals? I love that acronym, Emeka. What are your vitals? Figure out who you are. You know, wanting to be something and actually being it are two different things, you know? And it's that bridge in between those two things. When we talk about doing the work and trusting the process, you can't want to be something and not do the work to actually be it. It's very difficult. It's not easy. I'm in the process of that myself right now. And
it's a lifelong journey. You'll never really be
waking
finished.
up to myself is like, that was like such a long time ago. And I've gone through so much since that, and I'm nowhere even where I want to be. And it's not easy, but it's worth it too. I've never been happier in my whole life. I've never experienced peace and joy and goodness every day. When I wake up, I feel so good. And I never experienced that before. And it's a beautiful thing. But
being
also, being in my own energy, I feel like I master. And it's now I need to master bringing someone else into my energy that meets what I'm looking for.
Process.
Yeah. And I think that's meets what you're looking for. And I think that, you know, sticking with vitals, seeing as though that this talk is about knowing thyself. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done with regards to inner game for both men and women before entering the dating sphere. Flailing like, you know, a puppy on a beach ball, humping a beach ball, is not going to serve anyone well. It's going to waste everyone's time. It's going to be spastic. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be awkward. And it's going to be disappointing in the end. And being able to figure out what your values are, what your interests are, you know, interests usually refer to passions and hobbies. You know, I love skiing. Well, guess what? He loves snowboarding. Whoa, you can meet in the middle. Well, here's a trip to Blue Mountain that's probably going to help you guys bond. You know, understanding your temperament, which is also a very key. Like, are you introvert or extrovert? You know, if you're introvert, she's extrovert, or vice versa. Maybe there might be conflict. Maybe there might be synergy. It depends on what you're looking for. But it's good to know. It's good to know that that data. And
as matchmakers, we would tell you definitely you in that case, opposites attract, in a sense. You don't want to have two introverts and nobody brings each other out. You know, it's hard to have conversations that way, and it's hard to get into real stuff when you're afraid.
Exactly. But having access to that information, I think, is key. And I think even for us as dating professionals, you know, getting clients to, you know, open up, give that data so it helps inform our ability to help them, I think is very key. Because I know a lot of people are dropping $10, $15, $25,000 in matchmaking and dating coaches.
Yeah, and ending up with nothing in the end.
Ending up with
nothing in the end.
Or a divorce.
Yeah.
Or more expensive a divorce. And you know, this information.
I feel like, you know, introvert, extrovert, I like skiing, you like skiing. I feel like that's all the extra stuff. Yeah. It's really about being able to connect with someone and have them want to continue to get to know you so that you can figure out all that stuff. It needs to be brought all the way back.
I'm gonna challenge you on that theory as well. That if I can get one of the guys in the Alpha IQ program to give me that information out front, so I can draw up a full and comprehensive profile of who he is vitals, Myers-Briggs. There's tons of other personality tests. The more data I
Sure.
have with regards to who he is, the safer I feel feeding him into a pipeline that has thousands and thousands of women who are waiting to meet a guy who've been vetted by you and all your contemporaries on the female side of matchmaking. And this is it. It's all about strategic matching. And this is why, I look at huge entities like Match Group who are, trying to pitch or sell whatever solution they have in attempts to helping people pair bond, and me questioning the earnest intentions that they do have. It's $1 billion entity. It's got MBAs, PhDs. This sounds all repetitive because I'm saying it all the time these days, but I truly believe that these entities want to keep people single and on their platforms longer because that's how you maximize your.
Oh my, 100%.
It's a business.
Online dating's a
It's a
trap.
business.
Yeah,
It's a
online
business.
dating's a trap.
So
But that's why this conversation of knowing yourself is so important, because
Yeah.
more than,
Vital even.
yeah, vital. Because you know what? Bottom line is you need to respect yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't respect ourselves. And when you don't respect yourself, you let other people take advantage of you. Men and women. If you don't respect yourself and respect the other person and respect the relationship dynamic, there is no point in knowing what your hobbies are. There is no point in knowing your vitals. There's no point in knowing if you're outgoing or not. You have a love language. None of that shit matters. The basic respect that you have for yourself is the foundation of where everything else is going to move from. How you respect yourself and how you love yourself. And if you're not doing those two things, you're going to end up in a shit storm every single time.
Yeah. It's funny. Having respect for yourself is also considered a personal strength, which is actually ties back into the vitals, which is the S of the vitals. If you have that respect for yourself, then you're going to have the ability to have respect for others. Because if you don't like yourself, why would you like anybody else? You're
Why would anyone like you?
Yeah, the energy becomes toxic.
But they're doing that and they're marrying these people.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of
Not
people
respecting
are
them.
putting on the horse
Thinking that
blinder.
they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're putting on the
Yeah.
horse
Because I
blinder,
feel like they think that they
charging
do.
ahead and barreling right into a traumatic, expensive divorce, and then ending up MGTOW or a cat lady. So
Yeah.
you look at these situations, and I think one of the things we have been in complete agreement with is the fact that a lot of this stuff, a lot of these issues are avoidable, and sometimes we can be our own worst enemy when we just choose to ignore the signs that are right before your eyes. It's like, just wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what you just touched on, Nicole. It's like, I don't feel like people even know. I was one of those people that up until a few years ago, I didn't think anything was wrong.
Mhm.
And then one day I woke up and then I realized, oh my gosh, no, everything's wrong. But before that, I didn't. I was just like in my delusional bubble. I'm going to wake up to go to work. I'm going to come home. I'm going to make dinner. I'm going to spend a little time with my husband. And that's going to suffice.
On purpose.
Yeah. So oftentimes, and we talked about this, being pacified and being delusional and kind of living your life that way, you don't even know something's wrong to fix it because you just think like, I don't know, you're not lucky in love. And that's not the case.
Exactly.
We know so many beautiful couples professionally and personally, and I'm striving for that. I'm never going to give up on it. I want true love. I've been every woman, and the one I haven't been is happily in love, and I am striving for that, and I'm not going to let anything get in my way. But I realize I can only get in my way of that happening.
I assume you're happily in love in the earlier part of your marriage, were you not?
No, I never was.
Oh,
Okay, so here's the thing. I think
I didn't know that I wasn't.
yeah,
I didn't know that I wasn't. I was comfortable. And that was good enough. My own childhood trauma of my mom passing away when I was 10 years old and not having a father led me to look for someone who wasn't going to leave. And
yeah,
he
oh,
offered me
and
that.
that was it.
I knew no matter what, he would
okay.
never leave me.
Oh,
And that was comforting to me until I woke up to many, many things were missing in my relationship. I actually probably like in 2019, I like look back and I like look back and I look back and I was like, oh my gosh, like I never even liked you. And that was like a
Wow.
shocking revelation.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a shocking revelation. And but that's because I woke up to myself. And when I woke up to myself, I woke up to everything else that was happening. You know, I was like on the 401 with a Mack truck headed towards me, you know? But at the same time, I'm so grateful that I woke up because at that point, that's when I started doing the work and trying to figure out how I'm going to be the new Natasha.
Yeah, I think ultimately what we want to do is Natasha and I want to take our personal experiences and help people.
Yeah.
And our personal experiences along with our professional experience.
Yeah.
And kind of help because it happens to the best of us. I remember speaking to a member and she was a marriage counselor, but she's divorced. Right. And her biggest thing was that, she was so uncomfortable with that, like talking about it, like, like here I am, this marriage counselor. I tell people what to do about marriages, but mine didn't work. And I remember having this really long conversation with her, talking about like, it is you that people need to hear from. It's you that people need to hear from because you've learned your lessons. You've been through it. You've done it and you've come out on the other side and you know where you went wrong. Never feel ashamed of that. Like, don't, you know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
don't
Like,
stay with someone just so that you could say, well, you're married or you're in a
yeah,
relationship
like
and you're unhappy
keeping up
because you
appearances.
could find someone else that's going to be
There's-
better suited for you.
exactly. There's so many, like, anyway, I don't want to go there because I'm trying to throw people under the bus, but like, there's lots of people out there that it seems pretty, but it's not. I think that people probably thought that, we had it all.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, like,
You're so
yeah,
lucky.
you're so lucky. You have this and you that, and do this and you do that. But,
Yeah,
not always,
I
things
think
aren't always.
if a race car, if I'm driving, if I want to be a race car driver and I want to, I want to speed down. I can't even come up with a course. If I want to do the 24-hour Grand Le Mans and a guy did it but crashed his car, I'm still going to listen to his advice because maybe he'll give me some advice to avoid the turn that took him out.
Exactly.
I think that type of wisdom, you never want to discount somebody's wisdom simply because they failed in the pursuit of something that you're
There's
pursuing.
no such thing as failure. Yeah,
There's
exactly.
lessons.
I learned so
Yeah,
much.
I feel like that's another thing too
Yeah.
that I think that you would probably agree to this too, that I don't look at my marriage ending as a failure. I look at it as a win. Staying would have been the failure. It
Yeah.
wasn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now I'm in the winner's circle. I am free from the failure of that. I am free to now create the life that I want. I just had to wake up to that and go through the process. I'm in the process of figuring out who the Natasha is going to be when I am ready for the male entrance into my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things here too is I really want to invite people to share their experiences, share their perspectives, because it is about
Yeah, we want to hear from you for sure.
a lot of people in this situation. Yeah, are they're still maybe after a bad divorce or maybe a bad breakup or maybe a bad rejection from the earlier parts of pair bonding. They're left a little bit confused about who they are and their identity. reach out to us. Like I said, there's over 60 years of experience, dating experience here between the three of us. We've seen it all, we've heard it all. We encourage you to, like, comment, subscribe. Uh, Especially for me, you're going to get really long-winded, verbose answers, written and in audio form. The ladies are just as inclined to do the same. So, we care about you. We care about your success. We care about, happiness and love being a part of that happiness tale. And we're all ears, and we're all here for you.
Yeah, that's the
Gonna
whole
say it better.
reason. Yeah, that's the whole reason that we want to do this is there's so much pacifying information online, and we get lost in it. And we want to be here as an outlet for people to share their story and also wake up to themselves so that you can have the life that you want. And it starts with you. And you have to be loving yourself from a certain space in order for someone else to love you there too.
Yeah. So sound perspectives. And, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. That's the alarm.
There we go. Yeah, see you next time.
Yeah, see you next
Nailed
time.
it.
All right, cheers. All right.